Supreme Court will hear arguments regarding President Trump's tariffs. Small businesses owners are saying the president didn't have the authority to impose those tariff changes. Joining us now is NBC Washington correspondent Alice Barr. And Alice, go ahead and break down this case for us and when we could see a ruling come from the high bench.
Yeah, so it takes a while for the Supreme Court to rule. They're going to hear the oral arguments today, and then typically at the end of the term in late spring, kind of early summer is when you'd actually see the ruling. But at issue here is whether President Trump actually has the authority, whether he overstepped his authority in using these emergency powers to unilaterally impose tariffs on trading partners all around the world. Some our closest allies, of course, that has touched off quite a bit of confusion for a lot of business owners, the reason that we're now seeing this lawsuit that's made it all the way up to the high court. And it's strained some relationships with some of our closest allies, of course, Canada, one of them, the European Union. There have been a number of relationships that have been through some ups and downs throughout the course of these tariffs. And there are, of course, many members of Congress in both parties who think that they should be consulted. Traditionally, that is the role that Congress would have to offer oversight over tariff-making, decision-making, trade decision, policy decisions, that sort of thing. So the question is whether the president could use these emergency powers to do it without that traditional hand-in-hand oversight from Congress. And that's what the Supreme Court's going to start considering today.
Gotcha. So the president over the weekend flirted with the idea of going to court today to listen in on the arguments. How much of a sigh of relief it is that he won't be in the gallery?
Yeah, I mean, I think from a security perspective, that was something that he mentioned, that he didn't want it to be too much of a distraction to have him there, and that it would be quite an undertaking to secure the president coming into the Supreme Court. So in that sense, probably it is a sigh of relief for the folks that would have been in charge of that. And perhaps the people that are arguing, maybe it's a little bit less pressure to not have the president of the United States sitting in the high court, though it's pretty high stakes no matter how you look at it. He had said initially that he thought he was going to go, but he's busy with other things today. He's has been hosting Senate Republicans at the White House, and then he's headed to Miami for a business summit also later today. Yeah,
sounds like the White House is already working on a plan B if they lose. Talk about this plan that's coming down from the Treasury Secretary.
Yeah, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent did say in an interview on CNBC that he felt confident that the Supreme Court justices were going to rule in favor of the administration and allow these tariffs to stand. But should that go the other way, then he said that there are other mechanisms by which the Trump administration can continue to levy basically the same tariffs that have been in place. He said that these emergency powers that they've been using have been the cleanest way to do it, and that they provide the executive branch, the president, with the largest amount of latitude and flexibility to impose tariffs however he wants and to adjust them depending on, as he has done, the changing relationships, in some cases using tariffs as kind of a leverage and pivot point to enact other parts of his agenda as kind of a foreign policy tool. And so these emergency powers have given him the largest amount of flexibility, but Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, said there are many other ways to go about it to keep the tariffs that they consider essential to the economy and to the Trump agenda in place.
All right, Alice, thanks so much for joining us today. Appreciate it.